I have been using T3 stack for the past 8 months, and now I finally decided to move to its app router version, which was recently released. And here is how I'm going to do it. I just went across the Next.js docs and installed these updates. So just to get started, install with these updates, and I came up with a basic guide. So first, I started with making a demo app router application of T3 stack because I just wanted to take reference. Then, according to the docs, we need to have pages and app router simultaneously. So we can move each and like individual route simultaneously from pages to app router and run both simultaneously. This makes our upgrade very easier and convenient. And third part is, just let's assume that each and every component is client side, and let's mark it use client so that we don't face like errors of Next.js of it being client side. And next, we need to move the imports from Next.js router to Next.js next navigation. So basically, previously we used to import router from next router. Now we'll need to import from next navigation. Let's get started with doing all of this. Then let's move to the next steps. Before migrating components and pages from pages router to app router, firstly we'll need to migrate T3 stacks architecture from pages to app router. In a while, I'll explain what is all about client side and server side imports. Let's just check the code. Over the reference code, you can see there is a new folder with these 3 files. Let's start by just moving this file to our source folder. I already moved, so they asked me to replace. I just moved it again. Then I will just need to change few things. And here it is working. I can just move this. Okay. We will need to do some changes to our TRPC code in the server side. Then just go to server. Here in the new architecture, you can see that it's also taking headers in the headers as a, what do you say? It's also taking headers as parameters. I'm really sorry. I can just go to my TRPC route here. You can see most of you already might be having the same response and request as ops over here. You can just replace it with headers, and you don't need this, to get the clerk auth. I can just use clerk user equal to auth, which is over here, then client ID equal to user dot user ID. That's it. Then I need to just pass it over here, and here I will need to change this and this headers, and just pass it over here. Oops. I don't need this. What else? Okay, I think I'll just, okay, it's done. Now I need to go to the server. You can see this is still not happening. So basically you need to make this a asynchronous component and just ignore this ESLint rule for now. I just reloaded my window and it started working. I just need to reload this and it will just start working. So nothing to worry about. One more important thing we need to do now is just create a folder app under source. Then go here and move this API route from, API route from this to this. Simple. As simple as that. I just need to change some of my imports and it will start working. And that's it. Now I can just take the layout. Oh shit, I think I need to move it into the app. Okay, it's in the app now. I need to just change the imports again. Then let's create a demo page to see if everything is working properly. Actually, let's see one more important thing. Before adding anything, just go to pages directory and app, and we can just delete this route from here. We will be directly using app router's TRPC endpoint as our main route. And let's see if it's actually working. I'll go to my application, and if it fetches the data, it's probably, yeah, it fetches the data. So it's working. Now let's see if it's actually working on the pages side as well. Let's just go here, create a test route, and I'll get page.tsx. You see, oh shit, okay, I see, test. And I can just go here and check the format. Now here, I was telling you about the import format, right? If you see here, I was saying client-side imports and server-side imports. So if you see here, if you try to import API, you will see these three things: API from utils.api, which we are using on pages side of the router, API from TRPC server, and API from TRPC React. I will tell you basically use case of these three routes and where you need to import in which place. You'll need to import API from util/API only when you're using it under pages directory. And if your component is, if you're using app directory, you will need to use TRPC server and TRPC React. When it's a server component, you'll need to use TRPC server. So it's a server component, so I'm using TRPC server. It's already auto-completing, saved post or get recent drafts. Let's say I want to get saved post, and let's close it, and let's make this asynchronous. Oh, sir. Okay. Hello is declared but never used. Now let's test it. Hello dot map. Okay. Dot query. I'm really sorry. If it fetches this, then it seems that it will be working. I can just go to test route and let's see if it's working. So if it's working. Now it's working on the server side. Let's see if it's working on the client side. Let's import from React, and when you import it from React, you can just see, you can use your use query hook as you were using previously, and you can import data, is loading, and all of your normal pages directory stuff like you were doing previously. I need to make it data, and data is, yeah. Now if it's working, let's see if it's working. So you need to know that as this is a client component, you'll need to mention use client over here. Use client. What's error? Okay, it's working. Let's try to import it API from utils. Let's see what happens then. API from utils. It will throw an error. Oh, it's working. I thought it will throw an error, but it's working. Yeah, so basically I guess should throw an error. There is some cache going on here. This is risky. Just don't import from util/API. Import from TRPC/React when you're using client component, and TRPC/server when you're using server component. Now, as we moved our T3 architecture properly, let's start with moving our components, layout, and all other stuff. So let's start with layout and animation, then all the API routes, then moving pages one by one to app router. Firstly, let's start with layout. In my application, I have a nested layout actually. So this is one layout, and all these pages will have same layout. So this page, home page, all these have same layout, but in the project section, if you see the project section, it will have a different layout. It will have a nested layout. So if I just open my project section, it will have this nested layout. So I will need to go here and create a new directory called projects. And in here, I will need to give a new layout.tsx. So basically I'm having two layouts here. To have nested layout in app directory, I can just create and it will have your nested layout. So if you give curly brackets, basically you are saying that this is not a route, this is just a nested part. Actually, there is a problem with my application is that, let me explain you with accelerator. Basically, I'm using something called as material tailwind, which is a component library, but they don't have app router support. So if I try to wrap my layout of material tailwind with normal layout, I will need to with the layout of the whole application, I will need to make the whole component client component, because basically the children is wrapped under my material components theme provider, which is something I don't want, because in here I can't make this a client component because I'm using TRPC provider where I'm providing cookies. For this, I came up with a workaround where I thought just I can wrap my whole application in just something called as app. Then I can have a layout which can be a client component. So this can be a client component and I just need to copy paste everything over here. But I don't need this metadata or cookies and this and also styles. I just need to import layout from my components and I just need to pass the children. And this will be a client component. So this is a workaround I came up with. Then I can just have my dashboard over here, dashboard, page.tsx. I'll just rename my dashboard from pages to something else so that they don't conflict. Something like this. I can just go here and copy the contents from this and paste it over here. I don't need this because this is something I used for pages and I don't need this. I'll probably need to make it use client. I'll need to go to this page. I'll need to make this as well use client. And one more thing, I'll need to add all the other wrappers around this layout of my application. So let's just go to app, and here I can see I have a lens wrapper and clerk wrapper and theme provider. I can just go to lens wrapper. So I just need clerk wrapper and I'll just wrap it over here. I don't need these props anymore, and this appearance won't be working because this is a client side thing. I can just comment it out, and I will need to wrap my theme provider as well over here. Where is my layout of, yeah. I need to go to this page. I need to wrap it with theme provider and start. Let's just go to the application. Probably it will throw me some errors. So I can't use next router over here. I just need to go to this page, sidebar / accordion. Where is my sidebar gone? And here I need to replace this with navigation. So basically my use case is the path, so I don't need use router as well. I can just go to path name able to use path name, which if you want path name in Next.js app router version, I can just use path name instead of router.as path. And I can just remove this. Only this should be working. It will throw me one more error probably. Yeah, I'm importing here navigation. Can just go here, remove this and this. It's probably good to go. I can just refresh the page again. It's okay. So that's how I moved my dashboard from Next.js pages router to app router. It's fetching data and everything is working smoothly. Good to go. Now let's move API routes from pages router to app router. I want to move this LinkedIn callback route. So I can just go here and sorry, it already has API, so I can just create callback and LinkedIn slash route.ts. Firstly, I'll just copy everything and paste it. In here, there are few changes we need to consider. One thing is we are not importing our request and response from Next. Instead, we'll import them from Next server. Next request from Next server. And I don't need response. And you need to specify if this is a get request or a post request. So for me, it's a get request. So I'm just specifying this. Then to get URL params, I can just do this instead of this. So request. So basically I'll need to do request.url instead of request dot. And over here for redirecting, I can just use next response slash redirect slash settings. That's it. And before ending this, I didn't use it, but I want to tell few important parts. One thing is, before you were using to get the body, you would use request.body JSON, but here you will need to use request.body instead of request.json. So this is something important, these few things. One is you need to specify if it's a get request or a post request. If it has both get and post request, you can just create one more route in the same place. Default async post, async post request. So you can just manage post and get request at the same time over here. And to get body, you need to mention request.body, and to get URL parameters, you need to run this. That's it. Thank you guys. I hope you understood everything. And to know more, just keep following me and I'll keep updating more and more videos soon.